Hello, this is Garnet, your Laughing Chaplain. It's a little diary entry for today. It's been a long day. I'm in Lake Tahoe. I'm going to visit some nursing homes here in Tahoe and share laughter with the residents. Um, and on the ride up here, which was about 4 hours, I spent a lot of time considering the issue of a nonprofit organization. Also had a good talk with a friend of mine who's been very kind to share his time. He wants to see my mission of teaching staff members in nursing homes how to do laughter to help them with their own stress levels and also to be able to use it as a um, frontline medicine with the residents. And we had a long discussion. I kind of got it in my head that, oh my gosh, I need to have a nonprofit. And people might ask for a nonprofit. Now, an interesting thing happened several months ago before I got my certification as a laughter trainer. Um, I got the idea I needed to collect some money to get to Canada to get the training, the program to become a certified laughter yoga trainer. And so it was more money than I had to go for that training, for the cost of the course, the cost of travel, there were some incidentals, uh, buying proper clothing to be in minus 15-degree weather. So I had this idea of talking to lawyers. I was thinking, hey, maybe lawyers will understand what I'm working towards, and they might have the ability to fund this. So I was going to go visit a barbershop in San Francisco whose scissors that I've sharpened for a few years, and right next door to the barbershop was a law firm. And there were a couple people talking in front of the law firm. So I just walked up to them. I said, hey, I'm working on becoming certified as a laughter teacher to teach um, nursing home staff how to do laughter with the patients. And I was thinking about going to attorneys to ask them for donations to make this trip possible. What do you think of this idea? And the woman who was standing there, this man and a woman, an older woman and a man, and she said, "Would you like $50 towards that?" I said, "Oh my goodness, that would be fabulous." I didn't even have the confidence to ask her. I was just asking her about the idea. So she goes inside and brings back some money, and it turns out, I discovered from talking to the man for a little bit, she was actually one of the principals of the law firm. It was her name on the banner above. It was her name, so and so and so and so, attorneys at law. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I was like, wow, okay, this must be a good idea. And so she gave me the money, and I said, now I don't have a nonprofit foundation or anything like that yet. She says, don't bother with that. It's just a lot of headache. I'm like, wow, okay. I don't know if I can call that legal advice, but at least it's an opinion that I was thinking in the right direction. Well, something I've learned in 20 years of doing ministry. I've been a literature evangelist now for a good 20 years, and now that I'm a chaplain, it's a little bit of a progression. I want to be able to, when I go into the nursing homes to share laughter with the patients, I want to be prepared for any other kind of help that they might need. Somebody might ask me to go give a laughter session to a patient, and I go in and I find that maybe the patient's roommate has died recently, or maybe their spouse died recently and they're still grieving. And I realized they may need spiritual care spiritual first aid just as much as they need the laughter. And so I have become a chaplain, and I'm really looking forward to the extra tools that I'm learning about being a chaplain to deal with more needs that these residents in nursing homes may have. Um, I spent some time in a nursing home last summer. I had to stay in a nursing home for a week, a 2 week hospitalization to prevent future strokes, stretched into 3 weeks. And the last week of that was completed in a nursing home. And that's where I really got to see firsthand just how much the nursing home residents and the staff need the benefits of laughter. And this was before I got training as a laughter leader, or got certified to train other people to be laughter leaders. Um, it was just inspiration from up above, because I was bouncing off the walls in that nursing home for the longest week of my life, you know. But I was doing everything I could at the time to bring joy to the environment, to try to help the staff members have a smile on their face, even when they were messing up my care. I had to be extremely vigilant to advocate that my treatment get completed properly. And it was quite exhausting. Okay, it was a very exhausting week. But even when I caught the staff like running my IV, I had a PICC line, which is a peripheral, what is it, PICC line, which is basically an IV that goes in the upper arm, winds around through the shoulder, and goes straight to the heart. And when I caught them making errors on how they were administering the IV, I still wanted to bring a smile to their face, you know. And as I taught the nurses how to properly do the IV, because I found out in the whole facility, there were only 4 people in the whole facility that actually had IVs. So I quickly realized the problem of the nurses not doing my IV correctly. And the only thing I knew about giving IVs was what I had seen happen at UCSF during my treatment there. And I watched very carefully how they were doing everything, because they were offering to send me home to complete, because my treatment went well. I didn't run into any of the possible side effects or problems that could have happened. And they were actually offering to let me go home to finish that last week at home on my own. But I made the decision that while I'm a great researcher and I have patents in the area of research technologies, I don't want to be the guy doing the hands-on work of dealing with IVs and things like that. I rather let professionals deal with it, because something could start going wrong and maybe I wouldn't know how to recognize it, you know. So I told him, I said, no, go ahead and send me to a nursing home to finish up the treatment. And so they placed me in a nursing home. But I had been observing very carefully about what to do. And I had to constantly advocate to get my treatment done correctly. And I had to make the point even to the director of nursing at the nursing home. I said, look, I said, it will cost you nothing more to do the treatment correctly than it does to do it wrongly. And I found that the nurses, when they realized I was willing to teach them what I knew about IVs and remind them of maybe what they learned at some point but had kind of forgotten or didn't have a lot of practice with, once the nurses realized I was actually on their side, trying to help them do the best they could for me, once they realized that, and especially when I saw some nurses then take the lead and start teaching the other nurses what to do. I really praised that a lot, okay? And I thought that that was very interesting. And so that gives me further confirmation that if I go in and teach laughter in the nursing homes to the staff, once they understand that I'm there not saying, oh, you lack this or you lack that or you're not taking care of the people properly, if instead they understand I'm trying to give them more tools to do things better, they're going to realize I'm on their side. And that always brings out the best in people. And laughter and smiling puts people in a good mood so they can do better work. Smiling people do better work than frowning people. You know, it's that's something that I've been demonstrating for myself in interactions with people for over 10 years. Okay. And one time I was paying some red light camera tickets that I had gotten, and I got tagged. I got 3 of them that stacked up on me, and I was so angry to get a ticket by some automated camera. I was going to take them to court, and I was going to do battle with the court system and get them thrown out of court, you know, on constitutional grounds. I never got around to it. They blew up with extra penalties into about $1,000 a piece, and it got to the point where I either paid them, came on the money and paid them, or I was going to lose my license. So I go down to the courthouse in Oakland, California. I'm standing there waiting in this long line. And I'm watching the lone worker behind the bulletproof glass. She's just having the most horrible day, obviously. You know, she's there typing everybody's info into the computer. From my side of the glass, waiting in the line, I'm thinking, you know, why is that lady having such a terrible day? She's got a nice government job. She's got all these government holidays. She got government retirement. She got, you know, all these possibilities. And, you know, life should be a whole lot happier on her side of the window than it is on my side of the window. But I'm watching this, and when I got to the window, I told her, I said, you know, my last name starts with a C. Are you allowed to serve me today? Or do I need to come back tomorrow? Do you only serve people with my last, that was the last name that begins with a C? Do you only serve them on tomorrow, on Thursdays, and not Wednesdays? She looked at me going, hey, we never thought of a rule like that to mess with the public. Almost. So anyhow, I'm giving her my stuff, and she's typing in the stuff, and I came up with some other funny jokes, you know, because she quickly realized I was just making a joke. And she says to me, as she's doing all this stuff, she goes, you're awfully happy to be paying all this money. And I told her right away, I said, no, ma'am, I am not happy. I am crying inside. But I don't want you crying while you're typing in all my info. I want you smiling while you're entering it into the system that I paid these, because I don't need to lose my license over some mistake or I pay and it's not marked as paid. So, you know, it was a great example of how smiling people will do a better job. And I've had several hospitalizations, unfortunately, over the past about 3 years ago, 3 years, where I just made it my goal long before I got certified in sound healing, long before I made a joke to one of my instructors in the sound healing program. Hey, I'm going to make up an ancient tradition around laughter. And she says, no, that's a real thing. This was invented by a doctor in India. That's why I like it. I go, you get out of here, seriously? So long before that, long before getting trained, in my various hospitalizations, I've tried hard to make sure that every nurse, every doctor who I had to deal with, that I had something to brighten their day when they came to my room. You know, and I've got different things, which I'll tell you in some other videos about. I made sure every single time that I had some kind of a joke or some kind of something that would get them smiling. And there were a few that were hard to make smile, so I had to quick improv something different to help them smile. But I got them all smiling, and I feel like I got better care, and I feel like the person after me got better care. I mean, I did crazy things like make up songs about my IV drip pull. I've had IV drips a few times, a few hospitalizations. I guess that's one of their go-to tools. Um, yeah, I've made up songs, all kind of crazy, goofy stuff. But it gets them smiling because something I've realized from all these different encounters in the healthcare system, it's tough. It's tough working in a healthcare environment, okay? There's a dozen reasons a day, probably, in most of their lives, a dozen things that happen on every single shift that could give them a bad week. Not just a bad day, a bad week. So this repeated contact of being at the mercy of doctors and nurses in hospitals and in a nursing home and different facilities, it's made me very passionate about the need to get laughter in those environments, to teach them how powerful this is, to release all the brain's feel-good chemicals. And if I could teach them how to do this, they're going to make a change in their families. It'll be a generational change, okay? Because once they learn how great laughter is as a daily practice for releasing all the brain's feel-good chemicals, for lowering stress levels, just if you want to be a happy person, act like a happy person. And I have all kind of things to teach them to do so that they can laugh for no reason at all when they don't feel like it and end up developing an attitude of laugitude. It works by the same mechanisms that gratitude practices work, okay? If I could bring that to these staff members, especially at nursing homes, that's where I really feel the need is most critical, okay? Do this work at the nursing home so that the seniors can have a chance to laugh each day. Maybe more than one time a day, okay? Because I've gone back to the nursing home that I was in a few times to make arrangements to be able to come and start working with the staff and working with the patients. And I've just watched, like at Christmas time, how few staff members had any kind of Christmas pizzazz that they were wearing. And just the expressions on the faces. And when I went around, and staff members who remembered me when I stayed there, I like to go there and say, I'm an alumni of this nursing home because I got to graduate and leave. They would smile when they would see me because they would remember all the goofy things I was doing when I was stuck in there to, keep everybody happy and just, keep myself from going crazy on the whole thing. So I really want to get in there and teach them more about this and really teach them the principles. So that is what animates me. That's what gets me up in the morning. This is what I go to bed at night thinking about, and I wake up in the morning and I dream about this. It's in my dreams. I had a dream the other day of you might consider this a nightmare. I had a dream that I received a $4,500 check as a donation from somebody to enable me to be able to back off on the things I do to pay my bills, which is sharpening scissors for a hair salon, and be able to get a little more free time away to go into the nursing home, to get busy on this real mission that God has given me. And so I'd received a $4,500 check in the mail. And I lost the check somehow before I got it deposited. And I was trying to figure out which bank was I going to put it in and all this kind of stuff. And oh my God, it turned into kind of a nightmare that I was happy to wake up from. But, I thought about it the next day. Was that some kind of a divine dream? Because, the Bible talks about God giving certain people dreams to reveal things to them. Think, this is a revelation of where I should search for donations to support what I'm doing. I don't know. I can't say, you know. Let's hope it was a premonition of something that will actually happen in the near future to help me move this ministry forward. Anyhow, tonight I'm in Lake Tahoe. I'm planning to go to, there's a couple of nursing homes here in Lake Tahoe. I plan to check in with them and do laughter with the patients. Nobody's given me any donation to make this specifically possible. But on the way up here, I watched a lot of videos about setting up a nonprofit because this got really in my head. And I ended up realizing I don't need the nonprofit. That lawyer who gave me that advice, don't worry about it. Just go do the Lord's work, That, if it just, I want to get into the nursing homes. I don't want to be spending a bunch of time on paperwork and stuff like that. But this is where you come in. Some of these videos that I watched today, and I watched some videos, a lot of videos on how to set up a nonprofit because it's kind of in my head. But I finally came across some videos where people told about reasons not to set up a nonprofit. And one woman who started a nonprofit because she loved horses and she was a social worker working with foster kids, she had come up with the idea to get kids together with horses to let these foster kids take care of the horses, to come to a horse farm, be able to interact with the horses, help take care of the horses, and that would be very therapeutic for these foster kids. And so she set up a whole program for this. And she knew some foster families. So they got together, they helped her set up a nonprofit, and then things started going crazy. They got to the point where they were able to pull their money where she was able to rent. She called this Stable Moments was the name for her service project to bring kids to a stable to be able to deal with the horses and understand about the horses. Anyhow, some things went wrong. Like she had to use a tractor that was on the property to mow the property or something. And the tractor broke, and the person who was leasing her made her pay $4,000 to fix the tractor. And the board kind of made her pay that because she had to have a board of directors for the nonprofit. And the board of directors just said, oh, well, let's just pay the money. And so she's has nothing to live on. She's living in an apartment above this rented stable. So she has nothing to live on. She sees $4,000 going out to fix a tractor that was probably not that great before she started renting the stable a few months earlier. But she's the one who got stuck fixing it. And then other goofy stuff started happening with the board members, where in the end, the board members fired her from the nonprofit that she started because they thought they should just replace her. And then the whole thing went down. They tried to have somebody else run it. It didn't run. And so she ended up not being, it put an end to her being able to help kids in that way. So she did things in a different way without a nonprofit. And she is now, this model's been replicated like 15 times. There's now 15 different stables around in different areas that are using the model that she pioneered to be able to help foster kids have therapeutic contact with horses. And So her tale of how setting up a nonprofit ended up being a nightmare for her. It didn't help her serve people. Took quite a while for the YouTube algorithm to bring me that. Um, but I, you know, I sometimes when we pray about things we want to do in our life, we believe we see something that the Lord wants us to do, and we pray about it. Sometimes the Lord makes us pray for a while to see if we're serious about the answer and to prepare us to receive the answer. And so I feel like the Lord has brought me a lot of peace of mind on this issue now. So anyhow, I tell you all about this because I am dependent on donations to the ministry. If I spend all my time working all day serving hairstylists with their shears and running around, spending my time going to hair salons that aren't ready for sharpening, they haven't called me for an appointment, they don't feel they're ready, they're too broke to afford it, whatever. I end up getting home at 8 o'clock at night after a whole day of doing that. Then I have no time left to do this ministry. So, one of my one of my friends who's really been giving me a lot of uh, good business advice on doing this, um, we talked a while on this ride up to Lake Tahoe today. And he said, look, the bottom line is you need to get the message out there to people that you need their help with their donations to support you in doing this good thing. Because everybody I've talked to says that bringing laughter to seniors in nursing homes who otherwise aren't getting a chance to laugh, they're 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 stuck. To bring them laughter to help them lower their stress levels, to help them be more joyful in their final months or years in a nursing home, and then to teach the staff so that the staff's lives can change for everybody. The families of the staff members can have somebody in their family who really knows the value of laughter, who will have stories to share with their families about how the patients light up, okay? And they'll be able to see how transforming the joy of the Lord is through this sharing the sound of laughter. I have a chance here to really create generational change. My goal is to get to the point where in a year I train staff members at 50 different nursing homes in 1 year. I will be busy like crazy during that year, okay? Be busy like crazy to actually make that happen, to train 5 or 10 staff members at each of 50 different nursing homes in a year. Because I'll have to find the nursing homes that are willing to let me do it. I'll have to set up the scheduling, all this kind of stuff. But this is fascinating to me. I see the Lord has given me a vision. And it says in the Bible, the people perish without vision for lack of vision. So the Lord's given me a vision here. But He's given me a ministry here that's bigger than what I can just do on my own. He's given me a little different ministry than literature evangelism that I've done for 20 years. I could carry that on my own, you know. And I have a lot of books in storage, which I'm going to offer to you, my viewers, either to buy for yourselves to support what I'm doing, or to buy to have me give to the nursing home residents who really appreciate reading material when I visit them to give them their laughter sessions. So you'll be able to help with all of that. I have a pretty good inventory of books, which right now is costing me money to store them. I had to move to a different storage lately, so it's costing me a lot more money than it used to. But those books could be used for this ministry, either as gifts to you for your generous donations or to the residents at the nursing homes who really look forward to some decent reading material because there's a lack of it at the nursing homes. Um, so, so I bring this to you. Um, by liking and subscribing on my channel, liking the video, by hitting subscribe so you can hear more videos and just kind of I can share with you as this ministry progresses and give you regular reports. You can go to laughingchurch.com. You could join in the services there, where every week I'm going to teach you how to get the benefits of laughter in your own life. Okay, I'm going to teach you techniques to laugh for no reason at all and help you find an attitude of laughter, share with you the joy of the Lord. Okay, and how wonderful it is to experience that. Okay, on that site, there's links where you can send a gift to help support the ministry. I really appreciate that. You're sharing these videos with other people who can maybe help fund this ministry. Um, and I want to take this nationwide. I'd like to see that happen within a year or two. Um, Even internationally, there are possibilities to do this. So I'll share with you more about the ideas. I hope you'll like I say, subscribe to my channel and be willing to, spend a little time with me to hear more ideas of what's happening and write in the comments and stuff. Let me know what you think. Does this resonate with you? Does this sound like something really cool? Does it sound like something you'd like me to teach you how to do? Because I am working on the plans for a personal laughter course to teach everybody how to have a personal daily connection with the joy of the Lord. To be able to do laughter every day to get the incredible medical benefits. I'll have other videos where I'll talk to you about that. So anyhow, I appreciate your help. I think you get a little bit of a glimpse of the mission here that I'm on, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you just watching and just thinking about it and coming back, watch a little more. Come try some of my laughter sessions and things, and you know we'll help you experience the joy of the Lord too, and then you're going to get your own experience with it. Um, and so you'll see why I'm so passionate about this, and you can become passionate too for the joy of the Lord. Thank you. I am Garnet, your laughing chaplain. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to hear from you soon. Bye bye.